It's the seat of the crown that controls the world as of the Magna Carta, which is what, 1300, 1100, something like that. The Magna Carta has been the law of the land, the whole world, for the last however many years, and this is the rule book that they follow. And whoever controls the crown controls the rest of the world. And right now, the seat of that power is not in Buckingham Palace; it's under the Getty. That's why the Getty is our target. That's why they know that all we have to do is conquer this one target, and we take everything. And they know they can't stop it.
Welcome to the Mark Atwood Show, Adventures in a Cosmic Suit. It is Thursday, the 15th of August, 2024. In the craziest time in history. How are you surviving? How are you getting on? Are you confident? Are you an apocalyptimist, or are you suffering? I know a lot of people are suffering energetically at the moment. My advice is keep grounding yourself, keep praying, keep holding the light, because God's on our side. We can't lose this. But as part of my mission, I have come across the work of a gentleman actually a while ago, and I don't know why we've not spoken before, just because things happen when they happen. But this is a man called Stephen D. Kelley, and you can see his biography here at stephendkelly.com. He's a laser electro-optics engineer, laser pioneer, and inventor who created laser aiming weapon systems for military use. He was contracted through the NSA, CIA, and other government agencies to provide high-precision laser technology through his company, SK Industries. After a career as a jeweler and a precision optical engineer, Stephen became a laser pioneer, creating the world's smallest laser aiming system, dominating the world's solid-state laser module production through a contract with the NSA Oliver North Gang. This would ultimately lead to the formation of SK Industries Laser Aiming Systems, who would produce the Law 17, interesting name actually, laser aiming system designed for use by Western special groups for anti-terrorism. The Law 17 laser is still to this day the most accurate laser aiming system ever produced. The same laser was a standard spec component for every satellite due to its small size and stability. After falling out with the CIA and the NSA, Stephen became exposed to Billy Mayer and his Pleiadian contacts. This exposure and Stephen's experience in microphotolithography, try saying that when you've had a Guinness, connected to his experience with silver electroforming. I haven't had a Guinness, by the way. I've just been cleaning my house all day. Led to discoveries that eventually were used to provide the special components to experiments in speeds of light propulsion or beam ship construction. Through his work, he was made aware of the multi-level underground systems of tunnels and bunkers that exist under the Getty Museum in Santa Monica Mountain, Los Angeles, California. He had devoted more than a decade of his life for making people aware of this city under the Getty as a hub of child trafficking, a system of tunnels that connect to this site to deep underground military bases, DUMBs for short, a place of advanced technology, and a place for the global elite to retreat to in case of a global apocalypse. As an author, scientist, and radio host, Kelley has made significant contributions in various fields, including laser technology, alternative energy, and paranormal research. And he's also written this book, which I just started reading today, Lasers, Cavers, and Magic, which you can get. You can download it and listen to it on his website, Stephen D. Kelley, and there's other places to catch up with Stephen. But before I share those, let's introduce the man himself. Please welcome Stephen D. Kelley. Hello, sir.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. It's such a phenomenally interesting background, and I got I was a little bit teary earlier reading about the clearing by the CIA hit squad in the forest. That was in the jungle. That was just a horrific thing to read. And the line that hit me was when you said, "I lost my innocence that day," because up to that point, you were just an ordinary American who was going about his business and trying to live a good life. And
damn right.
Yeah.
Yeah, one nation under God and all that stuff that they tell you in school. I learned that wasn't true. I totally learned that wasn't true that day, that we were not the good guys. The bad guys weren't that bad. It's the black and white stuff just went away. And I'll tell you something, just from a metaphysical standpoint, I saw in my head the yin and the yang. And I realized right there that it was spinning and it was all about shades of gray and there was no black and white. That's when it really hit me.
Yeah, well, that is that's a good description for why people are finding this entire post-COVID time so confusing. But I want to start with the Getty because it must have been your work that brought me to the Getty. I mean, there's a lot of stuff done on DUMS by Gene Decode, but the Getty really is the hub, isn't it? It's the city under the city. I mean, it goes miles deep. Is that right?
Yeah, it's at least a mile deep. Yeah.
And how did you discover this, Stephen?
Well, I've been involved with the CIA stuff since shortly after high school, and I didn't realize how deep it was. It was actually NSA. It turned out to be later on. I was involved with the NSA, and CIA told me about that later on. But after dealing with the whole Billy Meyer crowd and getting exposed to the alien technology and all that whole new perspective on reality, is when let's just say the observation, the spying stuff really stepped up. Spooks in the bushes, all my friends getting followed around, crazy phone tap stuff going on. And that's whenever something like that happens, you're onto it. Whenever they react, you need to do more of whatever that was that caused them to react. So that's been my validation. But I had a lot of various different recruiters come into my life, CIA spook types. Both of them actually turned out to be reptilian. I know a lot of people think that's crazy, but each one of them basically, well, the first one was the one that really started talking about the undergrounds. I mean, I knew about the undergrounds from, Phil Schneider and Bill Cooper and people like that. I mean, we all know about these bunkers. The one under the Getty was a special one because I live nearby, and just driving past it one day, I realized something wasn't right. And that's when I got my first intuition hit. But dealing with these handlers is where it got confirmed the most, because they would talk about it. They would talk not about that particular installation, but they would talk about others. They would talk about geopolitical stuff, different continents and things like that. But I confronted the one guy. Once I realized that this bunker was there, I confronted him with a passage from the learned protocols of the elders of Zion, or the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, whatever. Anyway, there's this one passage where they say, "What fear do we have that the Goyim will rise up against us should the time come before we're raised?" And they go, "We have the ultimate weapon against this, the undergrounds, the metropolitans, these subterranean corridors, which we will build underneath all of their cities and capitals, from where we will blow up their archives and treasures should they ever rise up, pitchfork in hand." And I looked at that, and of course, this was written, during the time of the Civil War. I figured, yeah, they've been doing this for a while. And undergrounds, metropolitans, that was kind of clear what was going on. And I'll tell you something else, and this is a bit obtuse, but one of the big things that these guys do, at least when you get really high end and you get into all this psychic stuff and super soldier business and all that, because that's what this is. The NSA, they're very interested in locating small nuclear weapons, suitcase bombs and this kind of thing. And whenever they show a lot of interest in something, you know that there's more to it than just they're trying to defend us. So basically what they've done is they do have nuclear bombs at the entrances to all of these facilities. And if we ever try to storm these facilities, they will blow up the entrances. And their plan is to use tunnel boring machines to dig their way out, because they expect it to be a nuclear holocaust and they'll be completely sealed up underground. And not only will they dig tunnels to get out, but those they'll be bringing new extra nuclear weapons with them that they will fire off at what's ever remaining of us once they've emerged from their little bunkers. So, bottom line is, it's not fair. We paid for it. I want revenge, and I want to end them, because once we do, we will have paradise on Earth, and 25 million years of satanic rule on Earth will be over. Pretty simple.
Well, you know, I'm with you on that 100%. And it's the children that, you know, this kind of thing is, you know, I was interviewed the other day, and I said, you know, 22,000 children every single day missing for the last 100 years or so. And the person interviewing me said, I just can't believe that figure. And I'm in the middle of making a video just trying to prove that figure, because that's official stats. But in these underground bases, which is worldwide, right? This is the thing people don't understand. It's the biggest industry on Earth, are funded by us, and they literally feed off the human race. And for people that can't get their heads around that, or find it too frightening to contemplate, where's the optimism coming from that we can overcome these people, from your point of view?
Well, I have a very I'm fortunate to have a very specific perspective, because I was recruited by these people. I had a sit-down meeting with the trust fund manager of the Getty Foundation, a Templar, you know, a magic wizard type person. And it was during that evening that I found out that they were actually looking for me. And they had thought that my twin brother was the person they were looking for. And when they met me, they realized that I was the person they were looking for. And he told me that, yes, they had been looking for me. They use alien technology, you know, crystal ball, whatever you want to call it. Project Looking Glass is what it is. And they basically, it's a royalty thing. It's a bloodline thing, and it has to do with prophecy and yada yada and destiny. And basically, they said that I was going to destroy them, and there's nothing they could do about it. And it was the nature of time. They basically explained how time works, you know, going into the future, and you can't really change. In other words, when something is like 90% or better probability of happening, there's absolutely nothing you can do to change that from happening. It's like the timeline is written in stone. That's going to happen. And so they know they're going to end. And they told me I would end them, and they asked me how I was going to do it. Now, back in those days, this was back in close to 2000, I think it was. And I was very much in the military business. I made secret weapons for them, you know, literal secret weapons. Some of the stuff I was working on is still secret. It's still, I mean, it's like I made a flashlight that was declared a weapon of mass destruction, or a destructive device. It basically could disintegrate steel. That was the purpose. And I figured I could use stuff like that to go up against them and do a Matrix type thing, because this is what they were expecting. And, you know, a big military thing. And then I realized they kind of recruited me to their side. They tried to recruit me. They gave the old, oh, we're not Nazis, we're not Jews, we're not Democrats, we're not Republicans, we're humans, help us save the Earth, alien invasion, blah, 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 BS, BS. They wanted me to work on weapons to take out aliens, to protect the Earth from some kind of alien invasion. And I said, okay, as long as you guys don't shoot down any more airplanes, you know, this is after Flight 800. And I started trying to come up with some sort of a weapon, and I realized it was impossible. And the only weapon that we had as humans was our brain and our psychic ability and our ability to do all these things, you know, that we are gifted with the ability to do. We're special. And that's what I devoted all my effort into, working on my psychic skills. And I kind of got out of the whole technical kill people technology stuff and started working on love and light and, you know, all that stuff. And that's when I realized that's where it's really at. That's all they really care about. That's what it's really all about. These children they abduct, every single one of these children they abduct, they're looking for psychics. Mm-hmm. They test these children. They take blood samples. They're looking for special genetics. They're looking for anything special. They're trying to find the secret of life. They're trying to do all these things. It's Mengele on a super scale. Okay, that's what this stuff is. But every once in a while, every 1% or whatever, some tiny percentage, they'll find these kids that have gifts, like me, and they will turn them into super soldiers. They will take them into these training facilities, and they turn them into Sith. Sith. I call them, they're cavers, but we used to call them Nazi psychics. I mean, that's what you could call them. They're Vril. Okay, it's just like back during World War II when Hitler was working with the UFOs and all that stuff. They had Vril. They had Nazi psychics. It's the same people. It's exactly the same people is what it is. Seriously. So yeah, it's pretty crazy down there because they're actual Nazis and they're super high, whatever you want to call them, Jewish elder types. That wasn't me.
That was me. I've got a lot of children. They always ring me this time, and I forget to turn the phone off.
Yeah.
Although there's a lot to unpack there. Can I just ask you about the Vril side of it?
Yeah.
Because the Vril Society I've talked about on my show before. I've talked about the Black Sun. I've actually discovered a roundabout near me that's actually painted exactly the same as the Vril, the Black Sun logo, which is near some ancient Irish megalithic technology, which is near a Vril base, as far as I've been told. Because this is the crazy thing. When you talk about this stuff, people think you're mad because they just don't understand that
it's out in the open.
Yeah, it's out in the open. It's right there in front of you.
They're not hiding it.
No.
Hell, I see this stuff from satellite. I go Google Earth and I look around the Pacific Northwest. You can see it. It's all over the place. A lot of it is I don't want to say Celtic, but it's Nordic, Germanic runes and all of this stuff. They're very into it. But yeah, the same thing. It's the Celtic stuff and the Germanic stuff. It's very similar because it's Aryan. Okay, it's basically Aryan, and Aryan are what we are prototype humans. They're Rev A humans before all the hybridization and upgrades and everything. They're from Venus. They're the Aryans in India because it's like Krishna. They said Krishna was blue. No, Krishna wasn't blue. Krishna was really pale, and you could see all his arteries, and it made him look kind of blue. But that's where that comes from. It's all the same thing.
Well, yeah. On the Vril front, this came up the other day for me, and it'd be interesting to get your perspective because there's the Vril Society, but there's also the Vril that are supposed to be these lizards underground with a proboscis that goes through your eye, takes over your consciousness, and they seem to be in close proximity to cloning centers. What's your view on that first? Because I'm just interested to know what you know.
Well, pardon me. I don't want to say anything bad about Donald Marshall. I've known the guy for a long time.
I tried to get him on the show.
Yeah. He used to just knock himself out to try to get on my show all the time. And again, like I said, we go way back. But the cloning issue is really complex, and at the same time, it's blown out of proportion pretty badly. Kind of like the people that like to call all these Hollywood actresses transgender and things like that. It's kind of, and I personally have a problem with the whole clone issue because I've had plenty of people calling me a clone. I had a guy when I first started doing this stuff saying there were like 5 clones of me, and he had a big mythology based around the whole story, and that kind of pissed me off. And he's dead now, but what I'm saying. But anyway, so I kind of don't like that. Now, as far as the Vril are concerned, I've dealt with the damn lizards, okay, but I've only dealt with them in human form. And when they're in human form, to me, they're humans. They're weird humans. They're humans that don't act like they've been human for very long, and sometimes they don't know how to talk properly or whatever. And I'll tell you, for as scary and everything that people think these lizards are, when they're in human form, they're not scary at all. They make pretty weak humans. Okay, I'll just say that. And as far as they're very, humans are powerful. Seriously, we're very powerful. It doesn't take much to hurt these guys, and there's not that many of them. There's only about 250 million of these Draco in creation. 250 million Draco, 250 million Gray, and 250 million Anunnaki, and they're all slated for genocide. So right now we're in full-time battle against these Draco in the astral plane. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. But as far as the Vril Society, obviously various cultures, especially the Nazis and the Zionists, etc., same thing, have had different levels of infiltration. And the Vril Society and the Ananibre, or whatever they were, there's another group, it's like different factions within the same thing over there in Germany. They had some good guys and they had some bad guys, and the bad guys were probably the ones who were mostly associated with these damn Draco. Okay, but when I'm dealing with Vril, which is just a name, it's like calling all these spies CIA. You could look for whatever you want to name. You call them Sith. Sith is a great name because we're Jedi, they're Sith. They work on the dark side, we work on the light side. They can't do what we do. The movie symbology works really good for how this stuff is. But the Nazi psychics was probably one of the original descriptions that we used for these guys. So if you look at like the Vril Society and going back in World War II and what have you, they had these Vril Damen, of course, the long-haired women. And of course, the women grew their hair really long because it helped them with their psychic skill. It's fiber optic. Hello.
That's the only reason I'm growing it.
It's an antenna.
I know.
There's magnetite in your scalp. There's all. I mean, right. Anyway, right. So,
yeah.
But anyway, but that's all real. And again, a lot of people, they want these skills, and I myself, even if I'm a twin, okay, so I was already born with all kinds of psychic stuff, but everybody's got these skills and everybody can learn this stuff, and there's two different paths. It's real simple, the dark path and the light path, and one is service to self, the bad guys, the dark guys, and the other is service to others. And it's through service to others that we are stronger than the STSs, and we also have more protection, and on and on and on. So if you really want to develop your psychic skills and all that, and be able to do magic, if you will, it's actually, you have to become like a monk. Okay, it's pretty simple. And the Nazis are the opposite of that. The kind of like they're so-called enemies. They're pretending.
I found you said something interesting there about the Draco and the Greys, 250 million of each, slated for genocide was what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you get that from?
Well, I can't really reveal all my sources because obviously source is my source. But what happened? I'll just tell you the kind of how I came to these information. There was a period of time. I mean, this whole mission against the let's just say the violent aspect of our mission, the whole warfare aspect of our mission, only started like 7 years ago. I think it was maybe less than 7 years ago. And yeah, this November I think is going to be 7 years. But the thing I'm trying to say is that okay. See, I got started thinking about that. I completely forgot. Okay, all right. I realized that from a tactical standpoint, from a military standpoint, you look at these battles, you look at priorities, you look at the flow of where things are going to go in what direction, and ultimately you're going to reach a point where you have to deal with a final boss, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I actually was in a position where I didn't really know who the final boss was going to be or where this was going to go. It turned into something pretty grand, actually. I started getting a lot of input that was basically Gnostic in nature. And I realized that the final boss is actually going to be Lilith, and that Lilith is this demiurge, this Sophia character. There's a lot of interesting beliefs in the Gnostic various. I mean, Gnosticism obviously has many different sects, but if you look at all of their beliefs, it's like blind men, feeling up an elephant. You get a pretty good picture of what's going on. And I realized that the final battle is going to be when we actually have to make peace with Lilith. And once we basically defeated all of what she's constructed, we need to basically have compassion and bring her home, which is all she really wants, and which is the same thing we have to do to all these entities, especially the humans. I mean, I'll tell you something else, and I don't want to get away from your question. I will answer that, but the lake of fire is not permanent. The lake of fire is another form of home, because some of these Draco we've already have tossed into the lake of fire, and they do come out. It's actually like several human years later, they come out on the other side and they're clean. Okay, so I actually have Draco that have been through the lake of fire working for me right now. I have an army. Now, as far as the information about the genocide, I got this from I'm not going to name the source, but it's a very old source, and it's a source that has lived on Earth for millions of years, probably, because the Earth has been around millions of years. And there have been many epochs, of course, massive changes, but at the same time, there have also been die-offs. The Earth has been through at least 3 or so many die-offs in the last however many million years. And for the last 25 million years, these three entities, the Grey, the Draco, and the Anunnaki, have basically been in control of everything, because during the whole time prior, they were waging war against all the other species. There were something like 8,000 different entities, different species that, shared the Earth, and as well as the rest of the universe. And these three entities went full service to self. They waged war against each other, but they also waged war against everybody else. And basically, they were the last three. That's why we don't see these other entities running around the Earth. Occasionally we'll catch a glimpse of them, but yeah, there's some very ancient entities on the Earth that have a lot of history that can share this information. So yeah, that's where I got this information about the genocide. Basically, what happened, according to this information I got, was that as a result of this warfare between these three entities and destruction of the Earth, destruction of the moon, etc., there was a treaty signed, a treaty with the Creator, and the Creator basically set up some rules. The rules were that the Draco would control the Earth, and they would occupy the tunnels created by the Grey, the ant people, so they call them, and that the treaty would be voided if they did certain things, like they were only allowed to have 250 million in the galaxy. I mean, this is why they want to kill us off, because they don't. It's a soul thing, but yeah, they don't. You're not supposed to have this many soul vessels on the planet at any given time. We're way overnumbered. But they were using portals, and they were bringing more of these things onto the Earth through these portals, and that was a violation of the treaty. The other aspects of the treaty were that the Grey would get a new planet, which is the moon, because their previous moon was destroyed, was basically nuked and blown up. So the moon was replaced with a artificial moon that is a specific diameter and a specific distance from the Earth that doesn't move, that causes eclipses, which are mathematically impossible. Okay, people, come on. Do you think an eclipse is normal and natural? No, that's a big red flag that you're supposed to be able to see that this is not real. That's why, the damn thing's hollow. That was part of the treaty, that they would get a nice new moon if they stopped waging war. And the Anunnaki, the bird people, they liked the moon. They liked the deal that the Greys got. And they wanted a planet too. So they got a planet, and their planet is called Nibiru, only God put that planet Nibiru on a big, long elliptical orbit, so it only passes by the Earth once every 10,000, 20,000, whatever, how many years. And that gives us a chance to not have to deal with them all the time. So that's how it worked. But because these guys violated their treaty, because the Anunnaki, not the Anunnaki, but because the Draco have been running these damn portals. I mean, they've got seven portals they've got over at the Getty alone. Okay, and they're bringing reinforcements in, and that's a violation. So they went and created us little human hybrids in a blink of time, and we got souls, and God basically gave us instructions to destroy them. So that's really why we're here. We're God's little plan to destroy these guys. So yeah, we get to use our souls, go into the astral, and wipe these guys out, and they can't touch us. Now, they operate in the fourth densities, and that's where we operate. So yeah, we can get, our little armies. I mean, I have an army. I've got several thousand people that do this, including a whole bunch of other characters that we won't talk about. But every night we go slaughter these guys. And when these Draco are gone, then we will take out the Gray, and then we will take out the Anunnaki. And I don't care if they're on Nibiru, 10, whatever, how many light years away, we'll get them, because in the astral, we go wherever we want.
Are you spiritually protected? Are you wearing the armor of God? Are you prepared against the principalities of darkness that currently wreak havoc in our world? Spiritual warfare is a very real thing. Weapons of Mass Protection is the explosive and practical 5-star best-selling book from authors Abby Wynn and Mark Atwood, who both agree that humanity is in the midst of the biggest spiritual awakening in human history. If you feel like things ain't what they seem, if you feel you are under attack, get your weapons ready now. Weapons of Mass Protection. Practical tools for spiritual warfare. Out now.
We want. And they can't hurt us. It's incredible. Oh yeah, that's another thing that these guys at the Getty told me when I had that sit-down dinner with them, where they said I was going to destroy them. Because people hear that stuff, they think, oh, they can just kill you. No, they actually told me they can't kill me. They actually did. He said, you're in the can't be killed club. That's what he called it. Now he considered himself in the can't be killed club too, but I don't even know if he's alive anymore. His name is Jim. I don't know who the trust fund manager over there is now, but anyway, $9 billion endowment. This guy had the checkbook for that. He wasn't a slouch.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting hearing this coming from this perspective, because I've stumbled into the same viewpoints about all of this through my own life experiences, and you triggered quite a few things there, because I've been talking about fighting in the astral for quite a long time myself, and I think it's been quite heavy duty this week actually.
A little extra, yeah.
Yeah. There's been really heavy duty, but there was.
Oh my god!
And it's amazing how it just leads you to different people that give you a little nudge in the right direction. How all this works is so fascinating to me. Mm-hmm. And while you were talking about that, a couple of people came to mind. One was Tim Riffat. Have you heard of Tim?
No, I don't know him. Is he a super soldier?
Yeah, he wrote a book called Remote Viewing, and I was watching him quite a long time ago, and it connects with a guy who I'm going to meet soon in the northeast of England, who's about 80 now, but he was recruited because he was psychic and so powerful to take out the Anunnaki in the 1950s as a super soldier. And this guy could stand in a room with 30 people, and they'd all be dead in 20 seconds if he wanted it. I mean, these are the skills that this guy has. And then there's another chap who's popped up recently called Alabar Jones in my consciousness, who released a video yesterday because he's got a team of astral projectors, and he said that they did something yesterday that is going to be very, very good. So And also, this is why I want to bring these people up, because also I sat down with, I was actually in your hometown, I think, Anaheim. Is that where you're from?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, what a place. I toured America 2 years ago, and that was the last venue in Anaheim at the hotel opposite the Disneyland place.
Wow.
And there were loads of witches there, and there were loads of infiltrators. There was a horrible fight there between some people. And it was such a strange experience, because we got told we got set upon by 10,000 witches that were ordered upon us by the spirits of Obama and Hillary Clinton. And when I was seeing these faces, but they were behind a glass wall. They couldn't get to me. And the other thing that pops up is that there's a guy called Peter. I can't remember his surname. Is he here? Oh, here he is. Dr. Peter Collar, who wrote this book, The Hunting Fields.
Wow.
I did the foreword to it because Peter had a massive brush up, a terrible life experience with the Illuminati. But he told me that they only get, you're not in the you can't be killed club. He told me that they only get one shot at you, but if your soul hasn't given them permission, that's the reason why they can't kill you. Is that right?
I have a lot of different theories about what it is, because they never really got into it. I don't know if you really want to get into that, but there's also, like you talking about the faces of the witches and all that. I kind of got the same thing, only it's defenders. I got a posse. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant.
I got a very good, very big posse behind me, and I do have an altar that I call Rambo, and you don't mess with Rambo.
That was my nickname 30 years ago. No, it's just amazing the similarities here. But can we talk about the astral a little bit more, because there are people popping up talking about. There's a kind of couple of big arguments going around for people that are awake. Right, I'm doing inverted commas. One of those is about whether the Elohim are good or bad. And the other one is to do with the soul trap actually being even worse. When we die from here, we go to the light, and then it's even worse there than it is here. But I'm getting the vibe that that's people that are just in the lower fourth density and not going beyond it. What do you think about those two things?
Let me see. We'll start with the Elohim. I personally think they're Anunnaki. I think they're the bad guys. I'm dealing very heavily right now with Mason Satanic types, and they're very much into all that nonsense. It's very much of a Hebrew thing, but it's also very much Anunnaki. So yeah, I believe in using a Jesus filter. Works really good for me, and I don't need to use a historical 35-year-old Earth Jesus filter, because obviously Jesus is much older than 25 million years that these other idiots have been around. So that makes it very easy. Okay, so in other words, I don't deal with angel BS. Okay, if you're going to deal with anything, it's going to be with the Holy Spirit, but mostly it's going to be Jesus, because Jesus is your liaison to source. So, oh my God.
It was you this time.
That was a spam call. Or no, I got to be honest with you though. Right now, I'm under attack from Masons. In fact, I didn't want to tell anybody that I was doing this show, because they would have done a denial of service. They would have done what do they call that?
DDoS.
Yeah, they would have swamped my internet. I wouldn't have been able to do nothing. I would have had zero bandwidth. So here we are, right? But yeah, seriously, I'm in a very serious battle with Masons right now, and people need to realize that these guys, the ones abducting the children, the ones running the government, the ones sitting on the crown, the throne, all that, these Satanists, they are Masons, and they do operate in public, and we shouldn't have any tolerance for that. We should do everything we can to destroy them anywhere we see them, and we should make it so unpopular, so unhip, so uncool that anyone dares to even think about becoming a Mason is going to think twice. We need to really destroy these people, because we're not going to hurt them physically, but we need to change the psyche of the planet from a selfish service to self satanic policy to a service to others, advanced human post-transition policy. which is not going to involve all this greed and ego crap that these guys, these so-called, what they call them, influencers. These influencers, look at my Rolex, look at all these babes, look at my Ferrari, yo, a little bit of Satan is all you need, kind of crap.
Yeah.
So,
well, this, I mean, that's popping up in my head because I've seen people in my life become Masons after they've been out of my sphere of influence. And there was once a guy came to my house and he saw that I had a book on Freemasonry and he went, "Oh, what lodge are you in?" I went, "I'm not in a lodge." And then he said, "Oh, no, you're not the type that would," and he brushed it over. And that got me thinking about the way that they recruit them, because they're putting advert. I mean, I saw you put a Masonic advert up on your Twitter recently. They're recruiting them.
Something disparaging, you mean?
Yeah. But the way that they recruit is that they go for this weakness. There's a weakness in the psyche of the person. There's a the people that I know that did join it, they're kind of like you said about the reptilians. Low self-esteem, and they're not those reptilians that you mentioned as well that seem like they're not quite in their bodies and they're quite weak. It's kind of like those guys, because I've met a lot of those as well. One the other day actually, me and my kids were laughing about him because he's this guy and he's just like he's not there and he's really kind of weak. But as long as they've got people like that to recruit, they pull them in, but they don't realize what they're getting into, do they?
Well, the whole purpose of this, of course, is to try to draw Christian men away from God. That's the whole purpose. I mean, it's satanic. Ultimately, it's satanic. But yeah, the low self-esteem, the desire, it's the two things that they use are ego and greed. And of course, this is the same thing that the CIA and the NSA and any one of these organizations are going to use the same stuff. And yeah, so if you're the type of person that needs that ego massage and that acceptance, and you need to have whatever it is, wads of cash and crap to try to impress your fellows, to show them that you have value. I mean, the people that gauge their value by their money are really the lowest of the low. And I'll just tell you something, just to put all this into perspective. Dealing with these people under the Getty, okay, you're dealing with a class, a structure, a social structure that is atmospheres above what we know on the surface of the earth, meaning not just technology, but the sheer wealth and the lifestyle and the opulence of what they have, what they're exposed to day in and day out, and the information and the intelligence and the knowledge. I mean, they're operating like they consider themselves Olympians. They think they're gods, kings on earth. And in a way, it's not hard to understand, because then you go up to the surface and you go into your big city, Los Angeles, whatever, and you look at these people and they're just so savage and they're so base and their concepts of value are so pathetic. And once you realize that the most richest, the wealthiest person that you could think of on the surface of the earth, I mean, I think of guys like Bill Gates or Elon Musk or somebody like that. They're small. They're little small fish compared to what's underground. And these leaders that we see, these pontificating puppets that, I mean, you've got Keir Starmer, total Mason bastard. And over here we've got, hell, we don't even have Joe Biden. He's dead. What's her face? Kamala Harris. She's a puppet of Gordon Getty. Okay, she was put there by Getty, the guys that we're trying to take control of. And Gordon Getty, he's a Republican. Like that means anything, but he supports all these Democrat candidates, and he's trying to get his boy Gavin Newsom into the White House, and if not this term, the next 4 years, Getty will probably die. He's 90 years old, but the point is this is all planned out. And these people that you see on the surface that act like they have money, your Gettys, your Rockefellers, your whoever, they will bend over and kiss the feet of these people that are underground and do anything they can for these people underground. And ultimately, the guys that are running everything down there are these so-called elders, which are these never before seen group of, I think there's like 10 or 12 individuals that make up these elders. And there's some kind of, whatever you want to call them, it goes back to Solomon type crap. Okay. I mean, all of this stuff ultimately goes back to Nimrod, which is 2 generations down from Noah. But the whole Solomon crap is really what it's all about. And the Solomon crap is really Phoenician crap. It's not Babylonian. It's not Canaanite, because before there were Babylonians and Canaanites, there were Phoenicians. They were the first Semites. They were the first people in the Fertile Crescent with the Semites, and these were Phoenicians. And what people don't realize is the territory that the Phoenicians controlled in the Mediterranean alone was larger than any other empire. And they're the ones that started writing. They're the ones that started banking. They started slavery. They started piracy. They started human sacrifice. Every single settlement they made, human sacrifice was a major part of their society. In Carthage, they had a huge altar just outside the city. It was massive, that they would use for killing babies. The same thing over there in Lebanon, which was Phoenicia. And of course, they did it on an industrial scale. And right next door, of course, was this peon Solomon that everyone makes out to be such a big deal, when he was like a little shit compared to the guy that was running Phoenicia. But all these kings, Solomon, and not just Israel and Judah, but all of them, and the 19 kings that followed Solomon, they all worshiped Satan. They all passed their children through the fire. They all offered up their children to Melquart, which is Moloch, which is whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. This stuff was going on from 6,000 years BC. And they do a really good job of hiding.
Yeah, because it's all still there. It's just
it's all still there.
It's all underground, and they've dumbed us down so that we just remain.
Well, there's the people on the surface. Your Spielbergs and your Rothschilds and your guys that are doing these sacrifices and stuff and going into these bunkers and pretending like they're these great wizards. They are trying to emulate their masters. Okay, ultimately, like I said, their masters are these Draco, and the Draco are in a level of reality that is above this one. They're in fourth density. We're in third density, not to mention, but density. And when they're collecting the adrenochrome in the third density, the Draco are collecting Lush in the fourth density, which is the 4D equivalent of adrenochrome, which is negative human emotional psychic energy. Mm-hmm. So all this torture produces these really nasty brain waves that these guys suck up, and that's nutrition for them. They need it. Mm-hmm. So stop making Lush and they'll starve.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been trying to do. Because fear is it's all in the mind anyway, and if you allow that to happen in your own, that's why it's all about getting back to 0 point energy and connecting with Source Creator, isn't it?
Well, again, it's really politics. There is a decision you have to make. You do have to choose STO or STS, because just like the yin and yang with the dual polarities working side by side, that only happens on this level. When we transition to the higher level, the 4, 5, 6, that goes away. We no longer share the same timeline as the service to self types. I mean, obviously, you need to be at least 51% service to others if you want to transition into the paradise timeline. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck on a 4D hell timeline, and that's not what you want. So again, Source, the only way you're going to talk to Source is through Jesus. It just happens to be his job. But again, number one rule, you got to look for ways to serve others, because that's the only way that you're going to graduate. Okay, so the dark side is trying to convince you to do something else, feed your ego, serve yourself. Obviously, that's not the way off this merry-go-round.
Well, for people watching this who've not come across some of these ideas before, I've touched on them myself quite a few times, and I think we're in alignment. Well, we're definitely in alignment in that respect, 100%. It's all about, that's what I'm teaching my kids. It's about service to others. If I was telling my daughter that this morning, actually, I said, if you've got a good heart and you're looking after people, you're going to be okay. And she's seeing it around her. Teenagers are seeing it. There seems to be far more awake.
But it's not just other humans. It's also animals, and it's also plants, because on this level that we're on, we're on level 3. There's level 2 and there's level 1 below us. We need to respect both of those levels. We need to respect the earth. We need to respect animals. We need to respect plants. That's why we bless our food.
Yep.
People that think that killing a plant is much more righteous than killing an animal. It's the same thing.
I know. No, I learned that. I learned that off a Mexican chief at a peyote ceremony, when all of these vegans that were there that I knew started eating this buffalo that he provided, and I was going, "Hang on, you're teaching people to be vegan. You're eating buffalo. What's going on?" And then the chief came in and said, "No. It's all about this connection and respect and love for the animal, and we do that." And that was a wonderful moment for me, actually, because I often say that veganism is a satanic agenda in and of itself, and the food side of it is important. But understanding the frequency of these things is I totally agree. And I used to is this why your radio is called Truth Cat Radio?
Well, I love the kitty cats, obviously,
yeah.
But I chose it because it's one of the first words you learn when you're learning to read, right? Dog, cat, Jack, Jane, whatever. And I thought, nobody's going to struggle to spell this.
Yeah, well, yeah,
we want to use truth, and we want to bind that word truth with something that they can remember. So yeah, Truth Cat. See,
well, I like that because I loved kittens. I loved cats when I was a little boy because my nan had one. But as I grew up, I was like, people with cats are weird, and I just never got into cats at all. But just before COVID kicked off, a cat literally came to my window and became my best friend 7 years ago, and she's wonderful and has taught me so much about myself and how to live. She's sat outside right now. She's lovely. So I was very pleased to see that aspect of you as well, because it is so important. And I'm going to say, in terms of like these timelines that you've mentioned, and there's a lot of talk about timelines, and people saying about timelines collapsing over the last few years, and time travel and moving to these different densities. For people watching this show they're going to be saying, well, okay, I am in service to others. I'm doing my best, but I'm so tired of all of this. It's really wearing people out. They're wondering, they're still thinking in terms of linear time, how long this is going to take. When's it going to change? Is it going to be a solar flash? Is it in the blink of an eye? Is it going to be a rescue? What's your vision on that, Stephen?
Oh, wow. Geez. Okay, there's no rescue, first of all. We are, again, on my Christian perspective, I'm going to say Jesus is going to use our foot to crush the serpent. Okay, so if you're waiting for angels or aliens to come down and do that, they don't do that. The good guys don't intercede. It's like Star Trek, the prime directive. They will not do that. It's up to us. And as far as how this change comes and whether or not, like you said, a blink of an eye, it will be exponential when it comes. So in other words, it's directly related to how much energy you put into it. But I know from myself, I've been working on this for 20 years, at least 12 years since I've gone public. And I can tell you that the speed with which things are changing on Earth is becoming exponential. There's going to reach a certain point where the curve is going to be going straight up. And that will be when you will say it's in a blink of an eye. I like this to think of it as a fire, a brush fire, a field of grass, and we are the sparks, and we start these little flames, and the enemy runs around and tries to stomp out these flames as fast as we can start them. But it's gotten to be an out of control inferno right now, and they can't put it out. And now they're in damage control, and they're battening down the hatches and moving into the bunkers and getting ready to nuke us all and wipe the slate clean, because we are that close to ending this shit once and for all. But bottom line is, the only thing that makes a difference is Occupy the Getty mission. And people in different parts of the world may say, well, that's in Los Angeles. What does that have to do with me? Well, guess what? It's the seat of the crown. the crown that controls the world as of the Magna Carta, which is what, 1300, 1100, something like that. The Magna Carta has been the law of the land, the whole world, for the last however many years, and this is the rule book that they follow. And whoever controls the crown controls the rest of the world. And right now, the seat of that power is not in Buckingham Palace; it's under the Getty. That's why the Getty is our target. That's why they know that all we have to do is conquer this one target, and we take everything. And they know they can't stop it. And I have every intention of working for the rest of my life to do this, but I need people. I need 1/3 of the population of the entire earth to become passionate about this stuff, and then the enemy will back down, because we're not going to have a war. We're not going to go down there and slaughter these guys who, fill the streets with their blood. No, they're going to give up, because we're going to become advanced humans. We're going to become something other than the savages that we are now. And we're going to basically show them that we have destroyed their masters and that they best give up. And we will treat them like family, just like we're going to treat Sophia and Lilith when the time comes. And we're going to bring them back into the human family. They'll never be able to reproduce. They'll be in solitary confinement, but they won't get their heads cut off, and we'll treat them with respect, like a wayward family member. Okay, that's all they want. They don't want us to kill them, and they don't want us to give them what they deserve. And until we learn this hard truth, they're never going to give up these hostages, these children, the humans that they've got down there. They're never going to turn over all that wealth, which is greater than what is on the entire surface of the earth. And they're never going to give us all that advanced technology that we need to feed everybody and to cure the pollution and the cancer and everything else. I mean, my God, Fukushima is poisoning the Pacific. Nobody seems to give a damn. Mm-hmm. We're going to die if this doesn't happen one way or the other. We're on the verge. We're on the damn path to nuclear war right now because of Iran and Israel and shit. I mean, what was it yesterday? The United States, Britain, Germany, Italy, etc. France went and told Iran, "You do anything to Israel, you're going to regret it." Seriously? Seriously? It's like, if we are not on the wrong side of history, they don't care, because they want us to die, because the closer we get to exposing what they're doing underground, the sooner all this goes away. All right? Well, so this mission is the only way. Everything else is a waste.
Well, that's why I wanted to talk to you. It's interesting. You said about the Prime Directive in Star Trek. The film Star Trek Into Darkness starts with them breaking the Prime Directive on the planet Nibiru.
Dude, the second edition of the new Star Trek series actually features the Getty Museum as the base of the Federation that some rogue officer goes down and destroys with some sort of USB.
Yeah.
So in other words, right there, that's in your face. That's showing that their enemy, wants to destroy their secret underground base under the Getty. They had it right there in the movie.
Yeah, when Benedict Cumberbatch was in that film.
He's so gay. That guy's a pedophile. That guy's a total pedophile.
I met him. He was at Manchester University when I was there, and I think it was the Real Dark Judge was talking about him and his wife.
When he was doing the Doctor Strange business, and they had him over there in wherever it was, Nepal or something like that, he took over an orphanage from a guy that I know who was running an orphanage. And when he left the country, he turned it over to Benjamin Cumberbatch. What the hell does a pedophile like Cumberbatch need to be involved with an orphanage for?
Well, it's like Madonna and the orphans, and
I can tell you all kinds of stories about what these people do with their adopted children and stuff.
Well, we'll have to save that for another episode because our hour is up. But it's been great to meet you and listen to what you've had to say. And how you say you want to get 1/3 of the population. How does anybody watching this? What's the best way for them to engage in this?
Well, the first thing you got to do is read my book. It's free. It's on the internet. I think you got it there. You join my Telegram page, which is the best, safest place for us to be right now because it's run by the Russians. They can't shut it down. The Telegram page, of course, is Stephen Kelley. It's Occupy the Getty /Stephen E. Kelley. And, of course, the Twitter page, where it's really happening right now. You could join that. You could see me going to war with these crazy Masons right now. Oh my God. Okay, let me just say this. This Mason guy this guy right here, Gary Grinberg, he is so pissed off at me right now that he did an AI, what they call deep fake video. He took one of my old videos that I make lots of videos, and he changed the words and whatever to make it sound like I was talking about doing some sort of pedophile film or something like this. I don't listen to this stuff, of course, but people have been telling me about it, and I realize it's AI. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm going to do an AI of him sitting on the toilet there, maybe talking, trying to, whatever, So yeah, it's pretty crazy what these Satanists will do right now. But I got to tell you, a lot of people are afraid of these Masons. Like this Mason guy right there we're looking at, he's actually threatening people's lives. He put out a hit on Twitter yesterday, $20,000 for the life of somebody else, and he took it down right away, and Twitter didn't do anything about it. But these guys, they're a lot of huff and puff, but when it gets down to it, they just don't have the balls to do anything. Okay, they want you to think they're these scary mafia. They're going to put a hex on you. They're going to do all this crazy stuff. No, we are so much more powerful. And I'll tell you, those of us that are in the whole service to others crowd, when they try to do crap like that to us, it bounces back. I've got so many of these bastards that tried to kill me already. They're dead. I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for this guy to have an accident or something.
Well, yeah, it's very. We're running parallel there, I think, which is great to know. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, Stephen. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much. Oh, I got a show. Let me just leave you with this real quick. Truth Cat Radio, Thursday tonight. I know your guys are going to be asleep, but 9 p.m. Eastern, I do a show, Truth Cat Radio, for an hour every Thursday live. Okay, so tune in, truthcatradio.com. Okay, thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, Stephen. Take care, and thanks everybody for watching. See you soon.